everybody, and welcome here to our 17th episode here of the K2 Podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Monday, June 29th, so we're almost through the month of June. So our guest today, really nice guy. I've had a chance to speak with him before coming on to the show. His name's Michael Muldoon. He is a certified scuba diver. He's also a practicing yogi. He's got a lot of great information and some really cool stories today that I think we'll all find enjoying. So everybody, welcome Michael Muldoon to the show. Thanks for being here, Michael.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kevin. Good to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on. So when I first got drawn to you, or when I first came across you, I noticed that you were a scuba instructor, and that really intrigued me. How did you get involved into that? Like, what was the intro into that?
So I'm a diver, not an instructor. I'm
Okay.
certified diver, not an instructor. So the way it happened was my family did a Disney cruise to the Grand Cayman, or they stopped in the Grand Cayman. And my mom had advised us. She said, make sure you see 7 Mile Beach, right? So we did a tour, and then we got dropped off at 7 Mile Beach for a couple hours. Fell in love. Fast forward the next year, we started vacationing there every summer. So the first couple of years we snorkeled, and the snorkeling is just fantastic. But it's really about the scuba diving. We got the bug. So the third year we were there, we got certified with ambassador divers, Jason Washington and John and Chris and the great folks. Shout out to them down there. And so they certified us that third year, and then we came back the fourth year and the fifth year. And after that, it became dive trips. And we just fell in love with it. You know, it's just so blissful and serene to be under the water and peaceful, and it's adventurous and it's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my wife and son did it, and it just became a passion of mine and of theirs.
No, that's awesome. So where have you been about? Because some of the pictures I looked at, I saw some clear blue water, looked pretty exotic. Where are some of the places that you've been?
Well, most of the diving I've done is in Grand Cayman. I think out of the 30-something dives I've done, 80% were Grand Cayman. I've done St. Martin as well. I have dove in Hawaii a little, and Bahamas we did a dive.
Really?
There might be a couple others, but it's mainly Grand Cayman. That's why most of the pictures I have are so darn good.
Yeah.
Because the clarity there is just, it's phenomenal.
Have you come across any wild animals, or wild fish, or what kind of sea creatures have you come across?
The couple of sharks we got to dive with were the most exciting. A couple nice big eels. I tend to, when I see an animal like that, get drawn toward it, right? Whereas my wife is a little more drawn away from it and kind of, trying to keep me drawn away from it. So I have one video up on my YouTube where I'm kind of chasing this eel, and I know my wife is very nervous about it because they can turn on you pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a couple of shark encounters that I really liked. They were smaller sharks. I do have, visions of seeing hammerheads and going down to the Galapagos and things like that. But even just for me, seeing a little baby shark and being able to swim next to it and, experience that kind of creature is it's fun. And I got to tell you, Kevin, turtles are also a big favorite.
I saw the big picture there you had of a turtle. I think I used it on the intro pic. I thought that was so cool, man.
Yeah, we love turtles. And the cool thing about it in Grand Cayman, there's one beach I'm not going to name because we don't want to spoil the secret, where you can go every day and swim with 4 to 10 sea turtles like that. Not scuba diving, just snorkeling right off the shore.
Sure.
So we go there. If we go for a week, we'll probably go there 3 times and make sure we just go for an hour. Yeah. You go out and they just come and they're eating the grass and it's really communing with nature at its best.
Sure. I mean, it's something that I kind of wanted to get involved in, and that's part of the reason why I contacted you to come onto the show. But could you for me, sometimes I find that maybe it's an expensive hobby. Is it costly, or what is the price typically run? How's that work?
It is. It's once you get in, I mean, we don't own our own gear, right? So we rent gear. We're not, it does get super expensive if you buy all of your own stuff and you travel with it as well. So yeah, I mean, but if you think of any vacation you go, you're going to have, a couple hundred up to 1,000 or more, depending on how big your family is, for entertainment or things, shows or, excursions, different kinds of excursions. So as long as you plan it, it's not that bad. And when you go to a place for, if you do 6 dives in a week, they do cut you a good deal.
Right.
So, it's not as bad as you think.
And no, I'm sure. And so not to delve too much into your personal life, but how do you finance some of this stuff? What do you do?
Well, I have a job. We work. We save. We do the trips. It's usually just once a year. Sure. The trips in Cayman, we found a way to rent a condo with my folks, the grandparents, and my wife's mom, and it's not as crazy expensive as you think.
Sure. And do you work in project management? Is that right?
I do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I work in IT support. Right. I've been an IT professional for 20 years, providing services to different clients around the world, doing data center work and things of the sort. Building data centers, moving them, taking them down, things like that.
And before you came on, we were talking a little bit about meditation and some of the yoga practicing you do, and that cool necklace that you got on. Tell everybody where that necklace came from again.
It's from the Chanyen Monastery. So the Chanyen Monastery is in Carmel, New York, and they have the largest Buddha statue outside of Asia, I'm told. It's a real special place. There's obviously Buddhist monks there studying. When it first opened, the Dalai Lama appeared. He came and appeared. It was obviously a big to-do in the town. Sure. So it's a very special place. It's secluded. You go, you can see the big Buddha. They have a gift shop where you can get beautiful things like this. Sure. And then they have a cafeteria you can go eat. They have a pond where you can feed turtles. It's just a really wonderful, warm, loving place. And it's right around the corner from me.
Right.
So yeah, that's something I've tried to take advantage of to visit a couple times a year at least.
And how'd you get involved into yoga?
So I started doing yoga up in the town I went to college, New Paltz, New York, right? So I think it was around 97, right around the time I was graduating. I started practicing, and I've been on and off, mostly on for the last 25 years. And recently I've been practicing a lot. Getting very deep into my meditation and practice. The school I had just done a chakra cycle, an 8-week chakra cycle, where each week they focused on one. And the last day of the last chakra was the Saturday before everything got shut down in March. It was very odd. Like they had to shut down the next day.
Right.
So and now actually I've been speaking with them and they're getting ready to open up again. Right. So it's yoga's powerful. It helps a lot of people. Most people who do it will find benefit. The hardest part is just getting started.
Yeah, I think that's probably with anything. The hardest part is getting
just like
started.
Scuba diving.
Yeah,
Just like scuba diving, the hardest part's really diving in and taking that chance.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. No, that makes sense. And so what benefits do you mostly obtain from it, or what do you think people typically, when they get into yoga, could expect to gain from it?
You just get a little more clarity of what you want, right? You get a little more clarity of what's inside of you. For what I've been taught, the purpose of really yoga is to prepare the body for meditation. And meditation is just to quiet the mind, to listen to your inner spirit and kind of your God, right? Sure. And whatever you believe in. And that's really what it does. It's not like a drop of happens a drop of a hat. It's a process. It takes years and years. But if you study the yogis, they have these Kundalini awakenings, and then things just align in your life. And I think if you have the right, amount of passion and energy, and it's positive, you're trying to help people, that's when you can really align with the spirits of the universe and make a difference in the world. Yoga can really help you with that, and it's also just a good break from yourself. Right. It's a kind of a little reboot. And once you start doing it, it becomes easier, and the benefit just grows exponentially.
Sure.
It's definitely something
I've always been interested in it, but I think I kind of got to take your advice a little bit and just get started. Just kind of find
take it slow. You don't need to do a half-hour meditation. Do a 3-minute meditation. Do it every day for a week.
That's
3
a
minutes.
good point. That's
180 seconds.
When I've looked into it, I've heard some people say it could be as little as 2-3 minutes. Just finding that time and just get the ball.
Just
rolling.
do it every day. Do it every day. Maybe when you're having your morning coffee. Sure. It doesn't even have to be, binding up like a pretzel and sitting on a cushion. Right. Do it if you have your morning coffee. You sit down, have your first sip, shut your eyes and count to 60. Or count to 120, or do something just to kind of slow your mind, sure. And then do it consistently and see if you get a benefit from you. I bet you will.
I'm sure. And you also said, I guess for a lot of people with the whole quarantine aspect, how's it meditation and you practicing yoga helps you during quarantine?
It actually helped me tremendously. So one of the first things that I reacted to when we went to quarantine was my yoga school. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we just gotten done with this big chakra cycle, and I was like, oh my God, yoga's going away. What am I going to do? So I contacted the teacher, Adrian, one of the owners, and and I said, look, I would pay you to do this online. Like I would pay, if you could get something set up. I didn't even know what Zoom was, Kevin. I had never used it before.
Sure.
And one of the other girls in class ladies in class was like, yes, I agree. So, and she was very excited, Adrian, because she thought she was going to have to close down. And so quickly, I think Dave said it was in 2 days, they had classes online in Zoom. Right. So within 48 hours of this, oh my God, what's going to happen? All of a sudden I looked up and I saw 15 of my fellow yogis in Zoom, and we practiced class. So it's been hugely beneficial, not only to keep the yoga practice going, but to keep the community going. Right. I mean, you know the connection you get just by even doing this. Sure. Right. So if you're doing this with your group of 15 people or 10 people that you're used to doing it with, and it's harder to map onto everything. Yoga, it worked. If you have your buddy, you go to the gym and you work out, it's going to be harder to, get on your treadmills together at home or whatever to have the connectivity. But even as we go back now, I was talking to David, not getting to reopen, they're only going to have limited spots in that class. Right, they used to be on New Year's Day. There'd be 30 people in the class, Kevin. Right, it'd be like really tight. Now they're going to have maybe 8. Right, so you can't just drop in. You have to sign up. But also, a lot of people will utilize the online now. It's a little easier. You don't have to go down to the studio if you get home from work late, or you feel like your feet smell and you don't want to go. Whatever it is. I think that's some of the long-term benefit I think we can get from this. Yeah. But everything else in the physical world, in the brick and mortar physical world, is going to be different. It's going to be limited. Sure. It can never be the same capacity anywhere, really. Yeah. So we have to adjust.
I'm sure. And I heard you mention chakra cycle. What is that?
So it's the chakra, the energy centers in the body. So it's what they do is each week they would focus on one.
Oh, okay.
Give talks on Dharma talks on each one, and move all up the cycle.
Do you have like a favorite one, or is there typically something that you enjoy?
Well, I have to say after this last one, it would be the crown chakra at the end, just because this was the most intense chakra cycle I ever had. Wow. And because it followed everything that was going on at work. I was doing really well at work. And then it stopped right at that last day. But then that's what I turned internal, and that's where the show came from. Right. So it's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy year.
And so what's the last one again?
The crown chakra.
Okay. And what does that one pertain to exactly?
That's your connection to God. That's like the connection. That's like that's the.
And some people are, I know this is a question that I've heard before, and maybe you have the answer, I'm not sure, but some people sometimes believe that yoga or somehow meditation is a religion. How do you respond to that? Like, what would you say to that?
No, I think it's a philosophy. I think it's a philosophy that explains all religions.
Okay, because I heard you say, I felt connected to God or my God, and I was just trying to kind of understand that a little bit more and what that meant to you.
Yeah, I kind of believe in the universal one God. Like, I think that everybody has the same one, non-physical oneness that exists. And I think whether you use Christianity or Judaism or Islam to get to that, everybody's doing the same thing, which is live a good life. Help people along the way. Don't hurt anybody. Right. Don't be a dick.
Sure. That's important.
And whether you think or not, you're going to burn in hell if you don't, or if you think it's no big deal if you don't, doesn't necessarily matter. Sure. I think it's really, what you do with your time.
So regardless of the religion or background that you come from, everybody could, benefit from meditation.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think that the meditation can bring you closer to whatever channel you utilize to go to God.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I consider myself almost a more atheist or agnostic, not agnostic, I guess, but, I don't subscribe to an organized religion, but through my meditation, I grew up Catholic, and I was very anti-Catholic because of that. Went to Catholic school and got out and got my Slayer, my jean jacket with a Slayer patch, grew my hair long, and then I rebelled, and I was very pushed against it. And now I've kind of stepped back and kind of turned it, and now I see the positive benefit of all religions as opposed to the negative. So I think everybody's doing the best according to what they know and what they've been taught. Right. And these traditions aren't born out of nowhere. The fact that one says I'm right and you're wrong is what makes me think that they're not everybody can't be wrong and everybody can't be right.
Sure. I agree 100% on that.
Yeah. And all the wars that are caused by religion obviously makes you step back and be like, why would I believe in that? Right. So, but the peace I found through meditation has helped me again find peace with that animosity I used to have toward organized religion, and try to understand, that people are doing the best to live the happiest they can, and to stop being a jerk and judging them about it. But I think, again, to your question, yes, meditation, I think, can help anybody in any religion to feel better about life and be more focused on what they really want.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And so Frank Zappa, I didn't really know of him until I had spoken with you, and you're like, hey, I'm a Frank Zappa fan. So I listened to a couple of his songs, and I was impressed. I was impressed. I thought they were great, but I didn't really know about it. How'd you get... how'd you discover that music, and how'd you come up?
This is my signed book by Frank.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Frank Zappa more than most.
And so, did you meet him personally, or did you buy?
Never did. He passed away before I got a chance to see him. His last tour, I was 13, and I think I saw my first concert when I was 14. So it's just I missed him. But I worked at a record store. I worked at a record store from 8th grade till second year in college. So I was exposed to just tons of music. And I was a musician. I played guitar, heavy metal punk background, AC/DC, Sabbath, Metallica, Slayer. Then I get into like Minor Threat and Misfits, Ted Kennedy's, Ramones. And then I started getting into classic rock. And then I heard Zappa. I heard Apostrophe, which is, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. And it just blew me away. So I dug into his repertoire. I played an SG, played a Gibson SG. I just loved his sound. Right. And the SG made sense because I was very into Angus Young and Tony Iommi. And then Frank came along. And then Frank, slowly took over. And it just became one of my passions in life. And I also got very into the band Fish. You ever hear the band Fish?
No.
With a P?
No, tell me about
They're kind
that.
of in the Grateful Dead vein.
Okay.
They do a different show every night. And yeah, I saw them 146 times in concert. Traveled the country when I was younger, and they play a Zappa song. They play, I've seen them do it a few times. But yeah, so like when I went to college, I was a big Zappa fan. I was seeing Fish all the time, and I was playing guitar a lot. So after I graduated college, I got a job bartending in town, and a couple of the other guys in town were musicians as well, bartending. So we started a Frank Zappa cover band. We would all wait. We were vampires. We'd get up at noon, meet at 1, have a beer, and then we just learn some dirty Frank Zappa songs and just laugh and have fun. And we ended up learning about 40 or 50 songs, and we did about 5 shows, just at the local bar circuit. But it was really life fulfilling. I got to play lead guitar in this little, hack Zappa band. Not hack. Those guys were more musicians than I was, I think. And then what happened was Andre Chombley started a band called Project Object. So Frank died in '93, but he had played with some of the best musicians ever in the world, and he usually changed them up pretty frequently. So Andre started this band called Project Object, and he got Ike Willis. Ike Willis was Frank Zappa's lead singer from '78 until Frank died, lead singer and guitar player. So Ike went on tour with Project Object, and that's when I got to first have a live Zappa experience, right? I saw them live. I saw Ike Willis. He walked on stage. It was like closest I could get to seeing Frank. So I saw him a few more times, and then I got lucky in 2001, and I sent you a picture of this with Ike and me. Andre posted that they needed roadies. They needed people to help them load in their amps, stay sober, and then load out their amps at the show. So they were doing December 30th and the 31st in New York City. So I was like, great, I'll do it on the 30th. I'll be a roadie, get to meet Ike and hang out with my Zappa alumni. And then I got tickets for the 31st with all my friends, and we're going to go down and party. So we went down, and I got to meet Ike Willis, Pauline Murphy-Brock, Don Preston and Bunk Gardner, all who were in Zappa's band. 3 were in the Mothers of Invention, his band from the 60s. And it was amazing. So I worked, got a ticket for free, got to hang out with these awesome guys, and I bonded with Ike for the first time. And I did that a few more times, and probably about 3 more times. I saw them about 20 more times. And after my 4th show, I said, you know what? I'm going to see if Ike will come on my show. So I sent him a note and on Facebook, and we chatted, and a few days later he came on. And nice. After that, it's been great. It's been great. So now I've just been connecting with different Zappa people. Andre came on my show. Ed Palermo has a big band in New York City that does Zappa music. He came on my show and told stories of going to see Zappa in New York City in '69, and told a great story about how he really wanted to go to see him in the city, Kevin, but he got in trouble. He got arrested for pot in Jersey, so he wasn't allowed to leave the state. He wasn't supposed to leave the state, but he jumped state lines and went to see Zappa. So it's a little rebellious, kid in 1969. It's good. It's been having fun with it. There's so many people that have such a passion for Frank Zappa that I'm trying to light that up in other people as it gets lit up in me.
So it's funny that you mentioned your buddy there got kind of hung up with some weed stuff, and how times have changed. You know what I mean? Like, it seems more accepted, and a lot of people who've gotten in trouble for it. Kind of. I feel bad in a way because it's just like it's different times now, and a lot of people are still living with that stuff. I wonder how that'll go on, in the future with like getting rid of some of that stuff, or people that are in jail for that.
Well, I was just gonna say, look, I think there's thousands and thousands of people in jail right now because of that, which is just it's horrible, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough mentally for those people while we're on the borderline of switching over, to the more enlightened way. I think, and stopping the incarceration and wasting the money on it. But we'll see. We're heading in the right direction, right? We've made more progress than I thought we would, but not enough as much as I'd like to make.
What do you mean by that? What would you like to see more of?
Well, I think full legalization of marijuana.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I definitely can agree with that. I mean, it's kind of seems kind of silly to say, okay, this state can do it, but this state can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of silly. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's kind of weird to me. But so when you going back to your SCUBA a little bit, have you had any scary situations? Any times that you've have you had any run-ins, like where you like maybe run out of air, or maybe swimming with the sharks, you thought you might get bit? How does that stuff work?
So, not worried about getting bit. When I do get excited, I'm an excitable boy, as you can probably tell. So generally when we would go down the first couple of dives, I burned my air a lot faster than everybody else. Really? And I did have one time where I was like, there was nothing left, and the instructor had to come over and like, give me his air, take me to the towel. I waited too long at the towel. Well, first I sucked the air down too quick, and then I waited too long to tell him. So it wasn't that scary, but my wife gave me shit for that for a while.
That's fun.
Other than that, I think some of the more scarier things are more equipment related. Like when we first started diving, and if you're one of the hardest things you need to do is you need to go down 30, 40 feet, right? Take your mask off completely, and then put it back on and have all the water come out and be dry and okay. And that's a little scary.
So how come you take the mask off?
You close your eyes, take the mask off, you put it back on, you blow all the water out through the technique you learn, and then you have a dry mask, and you can breathe. You're breathing through the regulator the whole time.
But my question is, though, how come you don't just put it on before you go in?
No, you do. The test, what you need to do is you need to be able to take it off and put it back on in case you get water. And it's also part of reality. You need to do that a lot. Not take it fully off, but a lot of times you're
in case something like that was to happen.
When water squeaks in, so you got to be able to adjust and be comfortable down low. So I think that's the hardest thing mentally, because you can still breathe, but when you take that mask off, you kind of feel like you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Right. So I know my wife had a challenge with that. Yeah. She had to like watch YouTubes of people how to get through it. So that it's more of a mental thing though than a physical thing. So but if you take your time and you have the right instructors, I think instructors have seen the nerves of every aspect of getting certified, right? They've seen people nervous about jumping in, people nervous about the mask part, people nervous about the fish part, and they know how to get you through it. And at least the folks I've dealt with do.
Right.
Most yoga instructors.
So I've noticed in another photo you sent me, there was a sunken ship there or something that was on the bottom. What was that one?
That's the Kitty Wake. That's the Kitty Wake down in Grand Cayman. So that was actually a U.S. ship that I think it's the only U.S. ship that was given to a foreign country. And they sank it just for diving.
Wow.
And I actually have a really cool video, which actually matches my theme of Dooner's Guide Through Mirkwood, of me going in and traversing almost the whole thing. Really? It's about a minute and a half long. And at the end of it, if you watch, you see Jose Andres, that chef I was telling you about, the famous. He comes out of the portal at the very end because that was the time I went scuba diving with him, which was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Jose Andres is a fantastic man. And
did he get to cook you any meals? Did he get to
cook after?
No,
it's the funny thing.
Should have been like, cook me a meal after,
So he gave me rum cake is big down there, right? The tortilla rum cake. So he cut up a rum cake, and then I give his son one of my granola bars. That was the only food exchange we had. But it was still a good time. Good team. Took pictures with me. It was fun. Actually, his sous chef was my dive buddy. And he was about to open the restaurant in D.C., and he had to fight with the president at that time. So it's very interesting to talk to a sous chef about the inside scoop of, what they were planning this restaurant in his hotel, and then all of a sudden they're like, no bueno.
Right.
And so it's kind of heartbreaking because they were looking forward to it, but they were like, fuck that. So interesting time.
No, it is. And that is quite wild. So have you ever done any treasure excursions or anything like that, or something to find something neat under there?
No, nothing like that. What you make me think about one dive, Trinity Caves down in Cayman. It's fingers, right? It's fingers, and you go onto the sand, and it's almost like you're hiking underground because you go up and down, and you're on the ground looking up at different coral formations, but it's not like diving over a reef or in a reef. So I almost feel like it's hiking under the sea. So that was kind of cool, but it wasn't really you're always treasure hunting.
Sure.
Because you're always looking for a little lobster or a shrimp or or anything. And there's so many cool things down there. It's a lot of fun.
So do you do any fishing at all?
I don't. I've thought about doing lion fishing, right? So the lionfish is invasive on the reef. So they do. It's good to kill them, to get rid of them, and they're also tasty. Mm-hmm. So I've considered that, but no, I've never actually been a big fisherman. Like never go out to 3-hour, 4-hour fishing excursion. Sure. It's just hasn't been my thing.
Yeah, see, I've always enjoyed fishing, but certainly, I'm a catch and release guy unless I pretty much intend to eat them. If I'm going to eat it, then certainly I'll keep it. But, I've definitely fishing is a passion of mine. But that's kind of, I like the deep sea life as well, and that's what kind of drew me into wanting to be a diver and try to get more involved with that. My stepfather, who is also a retired firefighter, is also scuba certified. So, I may try to set up a trip with him and just, like you said, get that ball rolling and just go.
Where do you live?
We're in Richmond, Virginia. So the closest place, probably Virginia Beach, you know what I mean? So
Right.
Have you ever been to Virginia Beach? I think, did you ever, have you been to Richmond before?
I have been to Richmond. Yeah, we have family in Powhatan.
That's where my folks live. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
what a small world.
Yeah, and we vacation in the Outer Banks every year. Down in Duck, down in Duck.
I know I'm familiar with Duck. I'm going to Outer Banks next weekend for 4th of July weekend, so that'll be.
Where are you staying?
I'm not 100% sure. It's actually a campground with my folks. She's sending me
cool.
the address and all that stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. I forget the name of the city that she told me it was, but I think
it's usually south, usually further south. We go to the north end, and I don't think there's too many campgrounds. I think you got to go down south where it's a little more. It's more elbow room. It's more relaxing. It's you're gonna have a good time, man. That's great.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and it'll be kind of the first time that she kind of gets to go out that way. So I think she'll have a blast with it. So we
started our trips to the Outer Banks when my daughter was born. And it's been that yearly thing. She's going to be 16 this year. Okay. And we did it every year since she was 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we love it down there. But Richmond's great too. Richmond's
nice. I wanted to ask you this because I believe I took a look at your social media profile, but I may have been mistaken. But did you go to King's Dominion?
No.
Okay, all right. Maybe I did. Maybe I saw that somewhere else. But I could have sworn I was like, that's what made me want to ask you that because I know this.
Oh, you mean the park?
Yeah.
We did Busch Gardens one year and did the Great Wolf Lodge. Right, we would stop.
Oh, okay.
When my daughter was younger, and actually for most of the years we would stop halfway on our Outer Banks trip. And we did, like I said, Busch Gardens the one year, the Great Wolf Lodge a couple years. One year there was a hurricane and we got kicked out, so we actually left and went to the Great Wolf Lodge because we got kicked out early. Hurricanes are part of the game down there.
Sometimes that's true. Unfortunate part, but it's a reality. So do your family get involved with yoga and stuff? You're talking about your daughter. Is she involved with it? Is your wife there?
Yeah, good question. My wife, yes. And not recently since the shutdown, but right before the shutdown, my wife, daughter, and I were going to a class on either Tuesday or Wednesday night, and it was the first time that we'd ever started doing that. I think we went about 4 or 5 times, and then the shutdown happened.
Yeah, of course.
So my daughter did keep working out. She did a workout with my son's girlfriend, and so she kept working out. But my wife has done yoga. She belongs to the school. She hasn't caught on to or been taken by the Zoom yoga, doing it from home. So hopefully once we get back in the studio, she will.
So do you think there's a stigma with men doing yoga sometimes? Because it seems to be dominated primarily by women from what I can tell. Now, maybe that's a myth, but, I've noticed that. Do you ever feel any kind of way or do you feel it's an embrace for men to join or what do you think about that?
No, I'd rather be in a room with more girls than guys.
No, so certainly. I agree with you.
Nah. It's funny. I played racquetball for about 4 or 5 years and, and one of the people my wife works with had a reaction like that. Like, oh, isn't that that's not a manly thing? I was like, oh, I don't know, man. That seemed like a kind of an 80s interpretation. Yeah. But no, I never thought about that. And I don't know if anybody else does it. That's their thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've definitely thought about that before a couple times. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to be the only guy in the room. Not that it's not a nice thing to be the only guy in the room. I mean, I don't know.
You need to rethink that. You need to rethink that thought process, my friend. Rethink that thought process.
Yeah, that's funny. But,
even as you said it, you're kind of like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, no, it's true. I've always thought of like, I don't know if I want to be the only guy in the room. But no, I mean, I think I really just need to buckle down and just give it a shot, because it is something that I think I would like to do, kind of just find a little bit more relaxing place with everything going on in the world today, to be able to take a step away from that, even if it's just 5 minutes to decompress and disconnect. I think that's tremendous.
Well, the other thing you got to remember too, people have a thought of what yoga is, and they think it's not intense. You can do intense. Like when I was 3 weeks ago, when I was doing intense workouts. Like I had to change my shirt halfway through because I was sweating so much. Wow. So if you get into it, you can make it like, you think it's not a manly thing.
Right.
Oh no, you watch what some of these people do, it's more manly than half the people.
And I've heard that.
So, yeah. So, and that's the thing. You learn how to give your body as much or as little as you can. And it's a better control over your thoughts, your feelings, and your physical body. It's highly beneficial in many ways.
Right. And I don't know if you know about this. Maybe you've heard of it just through being in yoga and things like that. But there's this one guy that I used to watch on YouTube or seen articles written about him, and I was really intrigued by him. But what he would do is could go into really ice cold water, but through meditation, he would give off enough heat to where it wouldn't he wouldn't get hypothermia or freeze, and they would take his temperature and see that no, his temperature was fine. Do you think that's through meditation or some kind of birth type thing, like ability that he gained?
I mean, we've heard stories. There's stories of yogis and sages that have done things things the same way. And that's the more a pedestrian is the cold dunk. Right, that's very popular now. Is doing the cold dunk in the morning of just jumping into water and cold water. Tony Robbins does that, and that's it's similar. It's not quite as intense as what you're talking about, right? But that's still kind of shocking the system, and yeah, I think that could be practical. I'm not up to it yet, but what you're talking about, it doesn't sound. It kind of boggles the mind. Is that
that's exactly what it did for me. I'm like, dude, that's pretty badass. Like, I kind of want to try that a little. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's what kind of got me really into it. Now maybe I'm kind of stretching kind of far there, but that's what really drew my attention to meditation and stuff. Like, wow, if you can achieve that through meditation, is what this guy claimed. I was like, that would be pretty badass. Like, that would be pretty cool if you could do stuff like that.
You should read the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. That's kind of like the be all end all for yogi books. Yeah, you check that out. Autobiography of a Yogi. It's got so many. It's Paramahansa Yogananda is his name. And there's so many mind blowing stories that he tells in there. And if you can believe it or not believe it, but it's really interesting reading. And if you wanted to get a good foundation in yoga, what it's about, give that a read, or at least give a couple chapters a read, see if it catches you. Autobiography of a Yogi. Really good book. It
sounds really cool. I mean, I'm definitely intrigued by it all. It's something that I want to really get into. And then you've got me inspired to do a scuba trip here too. I may take my daughter, but she's really young. What did your daughter? What age did you get her involved in scuba?
Well, she only snorkels. She did go scuba diving in Key Largo. Oh, I forgot. We went to Key Largo last year. That's a place I forgot to mention. Okay. Kevin, that we dove in. So she would just do snorkeling with us instead of scuba diving, and that might be the way for you to start too. Is just go, do some more snorkeling trips to see if you want to spend that much time underwater, or if you're, and your daughter can probably do snorkeling too if you do onshore, not a 2, but
yeah, she's only 2 years old, so she's quite tiny. But it's something that, like, I know I probably shouldn't rush her growing up because she's already growing up fast as possible. But I'm like looking forward to the day we can do those activities together and stuff. I'm like, I can't wait until we can go out there, and I'm looking forward to that type of stuff.
We went down to the Key Largo trip. The first night we got there, we got a golf cart with the house we were in, and we were getting ready to go down and watch the sunset. And for the first time, my daughter drove us, right? Wife and I had a few drinks, like, yeah, we shouldn't drive. So my 15-year-old daughter drove the golf cart. It was one of those moments where I was like, where's my 2-year-old girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Driving Daddy down to the sunset. And she felt cool, of course, driving the golf cart. It was neat. It's a fun process. Enjoy it. There's great moments waiting on this end. I have a 15-year-old girl and a 24-year-old boy. But yeah, that age is 2 is fantastic. Definitely. Don't rush it.
Yeah, I try not to, but she, it's just, like I said, I look forward to the days that I can do a lot more of that stuff with her. I'm really looking forward to it. And then when it comes to scuba, another thing that I kind of am interested by is, like I mentioned, talking to you, asking if you found any treasures and stuff like that. I'm kind of into that aspect of it, like metal detecting on the sea and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of some of the stuff that I would really like to get involved in. I feel like it's some kind of, I'm probably sure, just hearing you talk, I would probably get excitement just by scuba, but I would think, like, I'm kind of looking for that rush of finding something, or like I struck gold, that would be an awesome feeling,
The problem is you probably have to be more of a technical diver to do that, and that's really hard. That's really? Where it gets physically taxing, and you have to, not to say you couldn't do it, brother.
Right. No, I understand. Well, what does that mean? Like, what is the technical aspect? What do you mean by that?
So when you dive at a certain level, you usually dive 30, 40, 50 feet for regular dives, and you go down 90, 100 for deep dives. Once you start diving deep, it's a whole different ballgame. The air goes quicker. Your faculties go quicker. You could get it's much more dangerous. Really? And you just really have to be more focused, more trained. It's just more difficult. And for me, that would take away some of the fun, Right. Now, I think you're probably thinking more scuba diving at 20 feet, picking up pearls out of.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I would really like some. I think I'd like some more, like, they say most of the sea has got more money in it than the world population or something along those lines. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. So I'm not necessarily saying do it for the money aspect, but some of, like, the old coins and things like that, I would really like to collect and hold on to.
Sure.
And I think that would be
Absolutely.
something really, really cool to be a part of. You know, I've always been intrigued by the deep sea. Like, I've seen some of those. I guess you probably can't get deep enough for some of that stuff, but like that fish with the little light bulb over his head and stuff like that.
Well, you gotta get one of those James Cameron, the vehicle things that go down, down deep.
Yeah, I guess that's when it starts really getting expensive. You want to talk?
Yeah. A couple $1 million a day or a week or something.
Yeah, I know it's expensive too when you start getting into that kind of world of it. You know, that's where it really starts to get expensive. Where it just, I mean, I couldn't imagine spending, a couple $100,000 or $1 million each day just to run your operation.
I know, right? Could you imagine?
So
is your 2-year-old daughter your only child?
Yes, that's my only child.
Yeah.
I've like I said, I try not to rush it. She's growing up really quickly. Her birthday is actually next month. She's almost 2. She'll be 2 on July 11th. So a couple weeks away here. We're gonna do like a whole little.
My girl's July 20th. My daughter's
pretty
birthday.
close.
Well, check this out. We were supposed to be going to Grand Cayman for her 16th birthday, and now it's canceled
because of the lockdowns and everything.
The country's closed until September 1st. No one can go into Grand Cayman. The airport's closed until September 1st.
That's a bummer.
So yeah. So we have to replan my girl's sweet 16 party. Unfortunately, we're gonna go for a week, bring a friend. Like, so close. But,
Is there anything else you've done to cope with the lockdown and stuff like that? How have you gotten through it all? Is it just in meditation, or what else have you done?
Well, one thing that helped me that happened early on was so my wife was repurposed, right? She's a doctor of audiology. That stopped, and then she had to start taking calls at the call center for lab results for COVID.
Okay.
And then at the same time, a woman in my town posted that her aunt got repurposed, and she was going to be driving her aunt to the White Plains Hospital every day. Mm-hmm. And she posted, if I'm going to do this, I want to make use of this trip, right? So she said, I want to try to gather goods or cards or whatever and bring it down to the hospital every day. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, let's that's great. So I contacted her. We formed a group called the Mayapack Compassion Warriors, and almost every day for I want to say 6-7 weeks, Kevin, I would meet her at 5:45 in the morning. I would collect goods from family, friends, get money and go shopping. Things good for the nurses and doctors, individual drinks, individual snack packs, not candy bars, but you know what I'm saying, treats and chips to keep them going. And people were baking brownies and kids were making cards, and it was inspiring. And every day, or 5 days a week, right? I would do that. I'd go out and meet her. It's just a great way to start the day.
Right.
Just give something to somebody else that is going to try to make their day a little better in the middle of this shit show. Sure. And then after a few weeks, I found out that she was delivering it to an ICU at the hospital. It was going to where the friggin' kids are being taken care of. So it's meant to look, and so that helped me. That helped me a lot to get through, just to be able to find something to not only give my energy to help, but also to help other people help.
Right. No, I think that's the best way to do it.
Oh my God, what do I do here? And it's like, you know what? Get a box of Rice Krispie treats, bring it over, get a box of Cheez-Its, and let's give it to the nurses for a day.
Right.
And I think people were able to feel good about being able to contribute to that. So that helped me a lot.
That makes sense. I did some similar things. The podcast has really helped me out as well. Putting in some work. Yeah, and I know you have your own podcast as well. Where can people find your podcast at? I want you to be able to plug the show and.
Thanks, man. So it's Dooner's Guide Through Mirkwood, right? So I'm Mike Dooner, Muldoon. So it's Dooner's Guide Through Mirkwood. Mirkwood is the mystical forest from The Hobbit, from the Tolkien novel, right? So
I didn't know that, so that's interesting.
Yeah, man. So it's all connected. So it's Dooner's Guide Through Mirkwood. It's on YouTube. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, Buzzsprout, and I got 25 episodes out. I've had Frank Zappa's lead singer, Rick Willis, on twice. I've had Palermo on. I had William Hung from the American Idol on.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. William Hung was a great guy. Really nice and really sweet and uplifting. And he's great. I would recommend getting him on. And then recently, I've been getting some amazing musicians. So Ken Tucker from Indiana. Hey, Ken, how you doing, brother? Amazing bluesman. He's my blues brother from another mother. I just had him on the other day. And then I had I'm blanking now. Sarah Parada from up in Kingston. She's another amazing artist. Look her up on YouTube or on my channel. Blue to Gold. Her video is phenomenal. Very Natalie Merchant. Just amazing voice, amazing piano playing. She's working on a new album that's coming out at the end of the summer. And then I had Ashlyn Smith, who is Ken Tucker's 10-year-old cousin, who's a phenomenal guitar player from Kentucky. So Ken was on when he was in Florida. He was driving home to Indiana. He stopped in Kentucky, and I did a show with his cousin, who's I'm telling you, Kevin, 10 years old. This girl could sing and play like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
And this is all within the last week. I've had all these folks on. So today I had Jamie Martinez on, who's a Riot. He's one of Ike Willis's managers, and all of a sudden, all these great musicians are coming out that I'm able to have on my show and help support. So
yeah, that's awesome, and especially the times like this where a lot of musicians are struggling to, make ends meet, or whatever that medium is. So that's an awesome way that you can do that. So that's pretty badass.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to try to do is use my platform to help any yoga teachers, artists, musicians, like you're saying. If there's anything I can do by listening to your music or saying your names, let me know, because they are having a hard time right now.
Sure, absolutely. And I heard you talking about playing guitar and stuff. How'd you learn guitar? Because I play a little bit. Yeah, I play a little bit, but I've only done acoustic. And there's a lot. Like you're probably way farther along than I am. But I've been playing on and off for maybe 2 years or so, So I
played lead guitar. I played lead guitar in a Zappa cover band. So
yeah, exactly. No, a lot ahead of me. A lot ahead of me, man.
I started playing in second grade. I went to Catholic school. I started playing guitar in second grade. I took lessons from the woman who was the head of the band in the church, and her son was my age. So we started playing music together, making music together when we were in seventh grade. Had a band together. We performed "Stairway to Heaven" in the 8th grade talent show. There's the first I played the whole solo.
Yeah, classic song.
yeah, and then I learned we played Yes Roundabout. So I was playing some pretty progressive stuff at a young age, and then I got into more heavy punk, punk and metal bands after that. And then I took a break after high school, and then did the Zappa band after college, and now I'm starting to play again. I just got heard. This is my new guitar, Charlena.
Named
after that. So Frank Zappa just released a new box set from 1970 from Flo and Eddie were in the band, and Charlene is kind of the lead single on it. So I got this 3 weeks ago, and I was trying to figure out what her name was, and I was playing some Zappa the other day, and it just came to me. So
it's a nice looking guitar, man. It looks really nice.
She plays like you wouldn't believe. It's awesome fun. I'm in love with Charlena.
Don't tell your wife.
Yeah, she doesn't know what her name. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mandy. I love you more than Charlena. Don't worry.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, look, we're getting here towards the end of the show. I'm actually going to be giving away a gift card to my audience after we have you on. Again, can you tell everybody where to find your show one more time? I want to make sure people know where to find you so they can keep up with you and see how you're doing.
Yeah, and come find me at Dooner's Guide Through Mirkwood on YouTube. That's DOONERS through TROUGH.
Okay. And I'll put that link. I'll actually pull up your YouTube, and I'll put the link in the description so everybody can find it as well. But dude, it was a real pleasure speaking with you, hearing a little bit. You gave me some insight. Got me wanting to get involved into yoga. It's something I've been trying to do, but I've never spoken to anybody about it. It's been a thought of mine. Something I wanted to get involved with, but I never heard anybody's really talk about it or find the information. So it's kind of good to hear from you and kind of get your perspective on it, especially from a man, so I can relate to it a little bit and kind of get your take on it all.
Well, I'll tell you what, here, my yoga studio offers online classes all throughout the week. All right. Here's my offer. I'll give you I have a card. I'll give you one of my classes. You can come from your house, you dial in, we'll do a yoga class together with my yoga studio. Okay.
I would appreciate that. You have my email.
You do as much as you want. I've literally been on one of these Zooms and I'll just lay there because I'm not feeling it sometimes. Sure. But yeah, it's on me. I'll pay for you to come to class.
Well, dude, that is very awesome. I appreciate that
keep in touch.
much.
Let's keep in touch.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it was a real pleasure speaking with you, Mike. I'm thrilled to have had you on the show. I'm definitely looking forward to speaking with you in the future, keeping in contact. Maybe you can come on again and kind of give us an update on your when you do get to go on your trip here, your daughter's Sweet 16. Maybe tell us how that trip goes.
Absolutely, man. Or you got to come on my show too, brother.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to do it. Do it. Well, thanks for coming in. I will get with you after the show and make sure you're all squared away. And I appreciate your time today, okay?
Thanks, brother. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Namaste.
All right, everybody. So that was Mike Muldoon. Hope you guys enjoyed him. It seemed like he had some good information to kind of share with everybody. Gave some good insight if you're into scuba and that's something you wanted to get involved in, or even getting involved in yoga. That'd be pretty cool. So it was nice to have him on. But this is the part of the show that I want to give away the gift card. So there was a couple of ways you could have entered if you went and liked the K2 podcast page, which we did have a handful of people go and like that page. And then we also had people who already liked the page. Those people are entered. Also, for people who shared the video last week, who also comment or liked on the video, they were also entered. So I'm actually going to bring up the little name contest thing that I have pulled up here. Let me bring it up and show you what it looks like. So it's like this little spinny wheel here. It has the list of all the names of the people that are entered in the contest. If you see somebody's name entered more than once, then that is because they had multiple entries into the contest. So as you can see, you may see a name more than once. If you do see that name more than once, it's not to create an unfair advantage. But if you liked the K2 page, liked the video, and shared it, that was 3 entries into the contest. So you may see a couple of names twice. But what we're going to do here is go ahead and spin this wheel, and I'll contact the person after the show of who the winner is. So, wow, looks like Dennis Bradley actually won the gift card. So I will be reaching out to Dennis and letting him know that he's actually the winner. I'm actually shocked by that because there was about 40 names in there, and Dennis is a watcher of the show every week, and he's always like, when am I going to get that gift card? So he actually wins it this week, so good luck, or congratulations to Dennis Bradley. That's going to be it for our show, guys. It's not a whole lot of content here for you tonight. I don't want to take up too much more of your time this evening, but I hope everybody got a little bit of information out of Mike Muldoon. You can follow him at his podcast, and I will link it in the description below. So you may not see it there right now, but I'll go back and edit it so that way you can find his podcast. But I hope everybody has a wonderful Monday. I appreciate you guys tuning in for our 17th episode. It's hard to believe it's been 4 months now that we've been doing the show. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Hit that like button for me. If you hit that like button, it lets me know you enjoy this type of content and where I can direct the show to make sure it's enjoyable for you guys to watch. But that's going to be it for tonight's show. You guys take care, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. I actually have some other guests lined up coming in the coming weeks. Next week, I may have a guest on. I'm still kind of working out a little bit of the scheduling with that, with my schedule and the guest schedule. But nonetheless, there will be a show